Hello and welcome to episode 1468 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, January 30th. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this morning by Justin Mason. Justin, February's pretty much here. How's it going, man?
It means we're like 2 months away, like 2 months away from baseball that counts, and even closer till we have actual games we can watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty excited. Plus, I
I'm
mean,
getting amped.
my favorite thing, I don't know if you know this about me, is the Winter Olympics.
Oh, I did not know. I like the Winter Olympics too. I like Olympics in general, but I did not know you were a big
I'm
Winter
a
Olympics fan.
massive
Oh, so you
Winter
about to be
Olympics
in
fan.
your
Yeah,
about to be in
so
your zone here.
I'm so excited that the Winter Olympics are almost here. I just enjoy them so much. So, it's a good time of year.
It
We're
is. I agree. For as
draft
cold as it
season.
is,
Yeah.
I don't have many complaints outside of the weather, and it warmed up here a bunch. I think I even mentioned this on yesterday's show. I could not convince you that we went through an ice storm this week. You would not believe me. There is no remnant of it whatsoever. But we're talking shortstops. We are on part 3 here, and we're going to finish today. Tier 6 is a big one from your rankings that has a lot of players worth talking about. And then 7, 8, and 9 definitely have a lot of deep league considerations, but will be a little bit more of a high level overview of those 3 tiers. But there's still a lot to talk about in tier 6. So let's dive in immediately and start with somebody that I quite literally just picked in a draft in Mr. Oh, wait, actually, excuse me, I went the other route. I was debating between 2 Orioles. I went the other route, and then he went the immediate pick after. I'm talking about Jackson Holliday. I ended up taking Jordan Westburg. We'll talk about him at third base. But Holliday went the immediate pick after to Tristan Cockcroft at pick 115. We've hinted at the devastation that is second base, which we will get into in depth with our boy Joe when he comes on. Jackson Holliday, to me, is obviously somebody that I'm putting at second way more than short. In fact, he only has limited shortstop eligibility, so we'll probably deep dive him at second base. But how do you feel about him after the 17-17 season last year? You know, a little bit of a slow start to his career for somebody who was anointed to be the guy, didn't do anything in 24, and then kind of meandered to the 17-17 last year. Is year 3 the breakthrough for Holliday?
I'm skeptical that it is. I know a lot of people are really high on Holiday this year, and he's going really high in the ADP, as you just mentioned. But I feel like this is like people just kind of wish casting a prospect that was number one on virtually everybody's list, and being like, okay, this is the year. I mean, I think people are kind of forgetting he's still 22. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's super young, and there's not a ton in the profile to suggest that this is the year of the breakout.
Not
I
a ton
just
in what he did last year, but I don't think there always has to be an indicator in the year before numbers, because we're still talking about a guy with massive pedigree here. Are you just
mhm.
concerned that he's just not there yet with Holiday?
Yeah, I don't know that the power is fully developed. Like, you look at the underlying power metrics and you go, you know, 89 mile an hour average exit velocity, 40.7% hard hit percentage, 8% barrel rate. Like, those are fine, but especially in that park, like, those are not numbers that scream breakout. Again, you look at the underlying contact skills. His own contact is 84, 85%. That's like right around league average. It's fine, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not anything to like write home about. And I think people are going, okay, third year in the majors, he's 22, now's the time. And we say it all the time that prospect growth isn't linear, and it's true. And I do think that Jackson Holiday at some point is going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I do, one, worry that I don't know that it's this year, and people are paying for it like it's gonna be this year. And two, I don't even know what the end game upside really looks like. I think people think, oh, eventually he's a top 15, top 10 pick in fantasy, and I don't even know if he's
Could
got the
be.
ceiling for that. I think he's more of a mid second to mid third round guy. at the height of his career, which is great and fine, but not something that you should be taking towards the top 100 in fantasy leagues at this point of his career. So I think people are a little bit overzealous right
closer
now.
to 150 on the ADP, 142 in the month of January here for Jackson Holliday. Again, primarily a second baseman, only going to have shortstop eligibility in leagues that count much lower, under 10 games for eligibility. Like, I definitely hear you in terms of, there are not clear indicators from last year's numbers, but the prospect growth isn't linear thing can work on the positive.
Absolutely.
Meaning that he doesn't have the stair step in front of him. He might just make the leap. And I think people are, debating if the calculus is there. Is it worth betting on the leap at pick 142? You're saying no. Others are saying yes. Again, I just considered him actually at pick 115. So I was closer to that 100 mark that you were talking about. But I think when you consider the shallowness of second base, he was the top second baseman available. Jackson Holliday was when I just picked right now. And he went 17, 242 last year in what is very easily like a pretty bad year, right? Like nobody's writing home about that. And that's what he still did. I think I understand why people are betting there.
I get it
We're
too.
going to really dive into how bad second base is. We are spoiling it a little bit here with Holliday since he is more of a true second baseman. But it sucks, Justin. And I think somebody like Holliday, because the next guy that goes is Luke Keeschel, a guy that I think you can also pull Coles in.
I'm going to make the exact same arguments when we get to Luke Keeschel.
This is getting to my point about second base, though. Like, who the hell are you going to take then?
And I think that is why people are kind of wish casting this breakout, is because they're looking for a solution at second base, and there just aren't very many there.
So I'll bet on a number one prospect on an elite team in a good park, elite team.
And I'm not saying
offense.
I'm not saying everybody's like, I'm not like screaming at people like they're making huge mistakes. Like I'm not sitting here laughing at it, because there is a range of outcomes for Jackson Holliday that includes this type of breakout. I just think people are starting to pay a higher price. I don't want to say they're paying for the breakout, because obviously if he, hits like a top 50 pick, like you're going to be stoked. But
if you're worried about helium, can I ask then, sorry to cut you off right there, just on Jackson Holliday though, if you're worried about helium, and he is incrementally moving, if I chop the sample down to just the last 2 weeks, 15th to 30th, he jumps up to 137. So just 4 picks, but it takes a while to start moving. If Holliday, what is the cutting off point where you go from, I understand it's a reasonable pick, I wouldn't do it, to, oh my God, you guys are being silly? Is it top 100? Is it top 110? Where is that cutoff point for Jackson Holliday where you start to get really concerned about the price?
I mean, you look at the two guys going ahead of him at second base, and that's Jose Altuve and Ceddanne Rafaela at pretty much 125 for both of them. I think if he gets up there, I'm starting to go, come on, guys.
Should Rafaela be going up there? I
think so.
What has he done more? Has he done a lot more than Holliday necessarily? He went 16, 20, 249 last year. Now he's done it twice.
Yeah.
He went 15, 19, 246 the year before, but it's 2 of the same year for Rafaela. I'm not dogging Rafaela out. I think I see some similarities though, to my point, where if Rafaela's going, 20 picks before Holliday, I'll take the 20 pick discount. But at the same price, I agree with you, it becomes different.
I think Rafaela too, we need to point out, he's done this in less than 600 plate appearances. Right. And I think this is a year he's going I think he's going to get more than 600 plate appearances in 2026. They just love him defensively. Because I also want to point out, the Orioles have a history of sending guys down or not playing their top prospects. They haven't with Holliday.
With him, though,
They stuck with Holliday.
They did break ranks there of what they normally, because you're right, they'll ping pong some guys back and forth between AAA and majors if they're not performing.
So we have to acknowledge that that's part of the range of outcomes as well for Jackson Holliday. So
that's fair. Let's move on from him, just because again he is more of a natural second baseman, and we'll dive even
deeper. We could do an hour on Jackson Holliday.
We really could. He's a fascinating player, and again, I didn't get my share there, but I think as a multi-leaguer, which is different than being a single leaguer, I think I will get some Jackson Holliday in my portfolio though. Like I said, I almost pulled the trigger there. I went with Westburn.
We have a comment in the chat that
the funniest part about that. So go ahead and read that.
Yeah, Jason Collette has said, I hate the host who keeps taking top guy in my queue. It's not me. I'm not an draft.
It is me. I took Westberg. First off, Jason, did you want Holliday? Would you have been mad if I took Holliday? Because that was my other consideration. Secondly, the worst part of this is Jason's the one who keeps reminding me I'm up. So it's like he
awful.
gives me the friendly nudge to let me know I'm up, and then I keep taking his guys. I've done it like 3 or 4 times.
He would not be upset if you had taken Holiday.
Okay, sorry, I almost made you happy there, but in the end, I had to pivot and take the guy you wanted.
You don't need to apologize. One of the best parts about being in a draft with your buddy is sniping buddy.
Him. Absolutely. You're right. I do agree. No apologies whatsoever. Let's move on to our next guy here that actually got a little chatter on our text thread. Both with you and I, the gentleman you were just referring to, Jason Collette, and our good friend Eno Saris. And I was surprised you didn't chime in with some extreme hate for this gentleman, because he was talking about Ezequiel Tovar, a guy you and I have batted around before, a little bit on different sides of. And I will say last year, you came out on the right side because you were fading him. You didn't really want the helium. And I think the injury shortened season makes that a bust and puts that in the checkbox for you for sure. 9-5 in just 95 games, coming off a 26-6 the season before. He has plate skill issues. I will not deny that, but I think Ezequiel Tovar is the classic guy who gets those issues fixed by Coors. It does make him half a player, though, and so I think you need to consider at least some sits on the road. In NFBC, we have the half-week change, and if they're going off the road on the road for the weekend, you take Ezequiel Tovar out. I think I would want to curate him a little bit more. But where are you now going into what will be year 4? Last year was kind of a partial year, but 2 full years before that, you've been suspect on him. Are you coming around at all now that he's closer to pick 200 than I think the 150 ADP that he had last year?
Yeah, I think I am actually, because... And, I could take a victory lap after last season, but I'm not going to, because I don't think I deserve it. Like, he was actually fine in the time that he played, right?
It was really the
injury. Yeah, it was the injuries that kind of kept him out. And I'm not overly concerned that, he finished the year on the field. So, I'm not overly concerned he's going to be, hurt this year. That being said, yeah, he is half a player. You absolutely nailed it, along with most Rockies.
Right. A lot of them you don't want to play on the road if you can avoid it.
And the thing about a guy like Tovar, who struggles on the road, and has really, really terrible plate skills and contact skills, the Rockies are still going to play him. It does
defense,
not matter.
Young player, yeah,
he's got locked. A contract. He's got a 7-year deal. They already signed that long-term deal with him, so he is gonna play. And I'm not a big fan of drafting this type of guy, but when we're talking about him going as late as he is, I totally don't have a problem with it. I just don't think that there is a big issue with Tovar at the current price, going 195 since the beginning of the year. I think that is a bit underrated.
Yeah. And he's still a baby. He's still very young, Ezequiel Tovar is. So it's you can't rule out some potential growth. I don't think he's going to reform his entire plate skills. He doesn't walk. He strikes out too much. But if he shaves it down to, say, 23% on the K rate, as opposed to, the 25 to 27 that we've seen the last 3 years, that could be something. But he really just needs to keep his BABIP in the 300s and keep feasting off of Coors. If he can do anything on the road for you, that's great. At pick 200, you don't mind a partial player, though. Yeah. I think you can live with a partial player in Tovar. This next one, I imagine that he would move down in. He'll move down in your next update. A good friend of ours. I say friend, meaning we just like him. We don't know Ha-Seong Kim, but we do love him quite a bit. Unfortunately, the injury is going to severely limit him. I forget how much time he's missing, but
4 to 5 months.
Yeah, half the season. He's off the board in everything. Let's just talk long term then. You're a Dynasty League player. Is this somebody you would even pick up off the scrap heap right now with Ha-Seong Kim?
No.
There's just nothing to hold on to, right?
There's not enough upside to warrant holding a guy for 3 months of the season.
Right.
I don't think so. I think he's gonna drop tremendously on my next update. I might actually just throw an update together today, just because I think I missed that when it or I didn't miss the news, but I forgot to change his his projection during that update.
He's gonna take a hit for that.
Yeah, like he's got to drop tremendously here. I'm interested to see, like, are they just gonna roll with Mauricio Dubón? Is that
I mean, who else they could because who else could the Braves get?
I mean, they did sign Jorge Mateo, so they're clearly
boy.
not. Yeah, they're clearly not doing, anything big.
Yeah.
So.
Can we even? And it's just off the dome, so I'm not gonna hold you. Can you even think of anybody off the dome who they could maybe trade for? Is there anybody that could go out? Anybody have a surplus up the middle?
Nico Hoerner.
Now he is being rumored, and which I think is stupid by the Cubs. But if he is, they should at least entertain it.
Right, it's a 1-year deal. It's not like you've got a, I think it's like 1 year, $9 million. Like
that would be, let him play short, keep Ozzy at second, of course. That'd be interesting. Now I don't know if they want to trade him to a contender in their same league or not. But again, I don't even think they should be trading Nico Hoerner. I think that's. Silly
the dream scenario is Corey Seager.
Oh my God! Well, Texas is pushing though. Right? Like
I know, but there was reports that they were shopping him at the beginning of the offseason. So
could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Corey Seager in that lineup,
and SunTrust in that lineup, or Truist, whatever the hell it's called, whatever corporate garbage.
I mean,
called,
but I like I said, I don't think at this point. I think the Rangers are kind of making a push here.
Pushing,
so
but maybe during the season. Like if it flops on their face and they have to start scrambling, maybe they move Seager and maybe Atlanta gets him. That would not change your draft, of course, because you'd already have him on your team, but that would be pretty interesting. Ha-Seong Kim off our board right now. If he comes back healthy in the summer and we talk about him as a fab pickup, we'll be excited. We're rooting for him, but right now it's pretty bleak. Let's move on to Xander Bogaerts out in San Diego, who's just kind of ho-humming through his seasons now. As much as I like him as a player, I still can't believe he got that 11-year deal. I marvel at it every time I go to his Fangraphs page. 11 years as like the 9th long-term deal that they did. Anyway, 11 homers each of the last 2 years, 13 and 20 steals, respectively in 24 and 27 as well, and a nice 260-something average in both of those years. He's just kind of been that guy. I think you can kind of pencil that in, although I will say in 2024 it came in 111 games, and then last year 136 games. So you could extrapolate this over $150 as like an upside. I think he's more of a volume upside than a skill upside at this point. But I don't mind Bogaerts where he goes. Is he somebody that you see as a viable middle option at pick 225?
Yeah, like I wonder sometimes like why he goes as late as he does. Like, and I do understand, like, especially this year, over the course, of the last 2 seasons, he hasn't broken 500 plate appearances. So, like, maybe that is the reason.
No, he had 500 plate appearances last year, not 500 at bats.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at bats. Yeah, like I don't really like. It's still a pretty good top half lineup.
Totally.
Like when he's on the field, he is productive. There isn't much power anymore. I don't think we're getting back to 20 home runs at any point in his career, but like. I could see like a 15-22 kind of season with a 260, 5 batting average. Like that to me, like,
and I could see average upside, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
300 BABIP either the last 2 years for Bogaerts. If he got back over 300, I think the average could be in the 270s, 280s.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're like he's a good in zone hitter, and he's good understanding of the strike zone. 8% swinging strike rate is great. Like. You get some BABIP luck, and all of a sudden you're talking about a guy who could hit, 280, 290. So, and like he does hit the ball hard. Like it's not like he is devoid of power. He doesn't hit it hard consistently, but max exit velocity 112 is fine. So, I think Bogaerts is a bit underrated. I prefer him in the shallower formats as an MI where, like. I know I can replace him off the wire if he does miss time. If he misses 30 games or 40 games, like I want to be able to go grab someone that can kind of make a difference for me. In a 15-team league, that becomes a little hard.
Sure, yeah.
But I mean, we're going to talk about a lot more guys in this, on this episode, and we're going to talk about a lot of late guys at second base. Like you can find an MI off the wire pretty easily. So. I'm not super worried about drafting Bogaerts.
No, I'm really not either. Because, yeah, for the time that he might miss, which he has the last 2 years, so we should bake in some missed time, I can find somebody. And then the upside is that he plays $150 again, which he did in 22 and 23, and I don't have to replace him. And I'm probably getting a better year at that point if he does stay fully healthy. So a nice, solid, kind of boring pick. I don't think he's going to ooh and ah the room.
Accumulator.
And that's fine. Yep, a nice accumulator there, especially if he can fully stay healthy. All right, let's talk about this triple eligible guy who came out of nowhere last year to have a pretty damn good season and then a crazy playoff for Mr. Ernie Clement. You know, he was just kind of your, like, run-of-the-mill, fill-in 26th guy on a roster utility type. Kind of broke through in 24. With 139 games, 263 average, 12 homers, 12 steals, and they stuck with him. They said, let's put you in the utility role again next year, meaning 2025, which was the past year, and he had 157 games, more of the same. Now, the fantasy production is a bit empty. It's a 277 average with 9 homers and 6 steals. It still puts Gavin Lux's production to shame. Remember, folks, he had 6 total homers and steals. So 15 here. I mean, Clement is a god by comparison. But what are we doing here for a 30-year-old Kemp with triple eligibility? It's all legit, 20-plus games at second, third, and short. But kind of this empty fantasy production. Is he somebody that you're willing to go for at pick 287?
I don't think I am. I just don't think there's enough juice. But
I agree.
I understand why people are like interested in him. I just think if there was more power, like if there, the Blue Jays don't run a lot, which I think, leads to like the lower stolen base numbers for Clement. Because I mean, he was a guy who like stole, upwards of, the high teens in the minor leagues, but I don't think that's really going to come to fruition in the major leagues because of the way the Blue Jays kind of operate. He's a zone contact god, right? Like we're talking about a 93.7% zone contact, which is elite. It's I just off the top of my head, like I would say that's probably top 7 in baseball. He does swing too much, especially outside of the zone. A 37% O swing is a bit crazy, but he makes up for it by just making contact everywhere. It doesn't matter. Like he's got a 72% O contact. Like
so when you're swinging out of the zone, Ernie Clement is hitting it 3/4 of the time. That's bonkers.
A guy who swings as much outside of the zone and still has a 7% swinging strike rate, like all he does is make contact. Now in your OBP leagues, he is not going to walk, right? Like he could easily have a sub 300 OBP. So you'll have to kind of keep that in mind. He's one of those kind of rare guys that is good in average leagues, but in on-base percentage leagues, he actually takes a massive hit.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to keep that in mind. And like I said, I don't know that there's much power in this bat, even if he is playing full time. And I still think there's a risk where like he loses playing time at times. So.
That's kind of my concern too with Ernie Clement is that like things emerge. Players, and I don't even have like a single player that would do it, but I'm just saying if better players around him emerge, I think Clement gets thrust back into a super utility role, and he's not necessarily playing every day. Like I don't think that he has to fully be in their plans. Now he is right now, and I don't see anybody on the team right now that challenges Ernie Clement, but I also don't think it would take
at the deadline if they wanted to go out and get a Ketel Marte, this is one of the teams that would go and do something like that.
I guess the one thing that helps Clement is that second base, as we keep saying, sucks. So who the hell are they going to go get besides somebody like Marte? And if that's not until the All-Star break, then you live with that and you figure it out at the break. Donovan would actually be really nice, and that could happen before the season. He is like he's a more refined Clement, but he is still better. So
he's Clement. He's Clement with walks.
Yes, which is just inherently better. I think when you don't have power, I want you getting on base as much as possible. And Clement was sub 300 OBP in 24 and only 313 last year. So that's not a great OBP there. All right, let's skip Matt McClain because we're going to deep dive him at second base, and he only has 6-game eligibility at short. And let's go to a guy that I loved last year, man. I had him down for the leap, and I missed. It was a whiff on Joey Ortiz. Just one of these Brewer guys that I believed in. I was like, they're going to commit to him playing time-wise. They did do that. Like, he got the PT, and if you had told me he was going to get 506 plate appearances, I'd said, great. That's what I'm hoping for, is another 500, and I thought he could kind of add to the 11-11 that he did the year before and go like 18-18 or something. He went 7-14, and the batting average was still 230. And that's another spot where I thought Joey Ortiz could get better, was maybe be hitting 250s. Instead, he went the other way. Was this just a tough year, or is this just he's not that good of a hitter and we shouldn't have been excited about Joey Ortiz after 24?
It's the lack of power. I mean, like, this is very much like the Sal Frelick profile, right?
Or just the Brewers profile in general.
Yeah, Brewers profile in general, I think, is right. And I think people fell into the Jeremy Pena trap, is what I'm going to now call it, which is like a guy has a really interesting rookie season and everyone's like, ooh, the growth. Well, sometimes that is the high watermark, right?
Like with Pena's power was what we're referencing. When he hit 20, folks, people were saying like, this guy's gonna be a 25, 15, 280 guy. Like we were extrapolating big time on Pena.
And sometimes that is just who they are, or the high watermark. Like they fall back down, and I just don't see where the upgrade here on.
Can I ask you something on him though before as you're getting in on Joey Ortiz? What the hell happened to the plate skills? Because both changed drastically. The strikeouts greatly improved.
Yeah.
But he cut his walks more than in half. So he went from 20 to 15 on the K rate. I love that. Getting to the teen K rate, that's a good strikeout rate. But the walks went from 11, which is pretty solid, to just 5. So he just went to free swinging, it seemed like, and made more, aggressive swing, I should say. Maybe not free swinging because he was making contact. But that seemed to be a hindrance for Ortiz.
It was him going outside the zone more.
There you go.
His O swing went from 24.6% to 32.8%. So that's a massive jump.
And his BABIP dropped 23 points in concert.
Yeah. So, like, you're going to go out, you're going to make weaker contact because you're not able to square up the ball outside of the zone as easily. And that leads to, what we saw in terms of the walk rate getting kind of halved there. I wonder if there was a difference between the first half and second half in that regard. I'm going to look that up.
Because that was brutal for Ortiz. And if you had told me that he was going to do that to his walk rate, I didn't know that 11% was his true talent, but I thought 8-9% with a decent K rate could be fine. And so when I saw him crater like that, that was frustrating. Maybe I'm an idiot. Well, I'm definitely an idiot. But
yeah, that's true.
I am inclined to buy back in. He is pick 400 now. And I still think an accumulating boring, like he's Ernie Clement this much cheaper. Now, Ernie Clement has triple eligibility, and there is fantasy value to that. And he's a better batting average, too. I guess I just mean in the counting categories. So Joey Ortiz is Ernie Clement's counting categories, but at pick 400 instead of pick 287. So, you're saving 115 picks. And I think I'd rather the position eligibility, is position eligibility worth 115 picks?
I think it really depends on what kind of league we're talking. Well, no, let's talk deeper league, because I don't think you're drafting either guy in a 10 or 12,
Both guys
right?
are deep league guys. So we're focused on Clement versus Ortiz.
I think I lean Ortiz here, not because I think he's better, but because I think his playing time is more secure, right?
Yeah. He is their shortstop.
He is their shortstop. He is good defensively. They like this type of profile. I mean, this is very much like Sal Frelick, the Bryce Terang kind of profile, without the blazing speed. So, like, I do think that, though he is 85th percentile in, I mean, maybe that is where, like,
that's where the growth could be.
That's the growth, especially if he goes back to swinging less outside the zone. I don't believe he will.
I hope, dude. That was such a bad change.
36.5% O swing in the second half.
I'm surprised no one got on him and said, "Hey, man, this is way worse than what you did last year from a plate skill standpoint."
I think, or
maybe they did.
Could.
He couldn't. I shouldn't assume that nobody said, "Hey, this isn't working." He's like, "I know, I'm fucked. I can't fix it right now." I don't know the ins and outs there for Joey Ortiz, but I'm inclined to buy back at pick 400 because I think he can at least get back to 2024, 11-11, 239, and that's worth pick 400 to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I do see like a scenario where he's like 11 25.
20, yes, 20,
You know.
25. I do agree that the speed upside is there because the Brewers run and Ortiz has the raw speed to be impressive.
The average upside's there too. Like anytime a guy makes this kind of contact, there's the opportunity to get lucky.
Yep.
Shut
the bat
and
do the work.
And maybe he does do like a Sal Frelick type of move where hey, if he adds a little bit of muscle, and keeps those plate skills intact, he could get the 15, 16 home runs or something like that. I'm not betting on that, but I do think it is within the range of outcomes. But to me, I'm not investing in this profile unless I see something in spring that tells me to.
Yeah, I'm not going to get as much joy Ortiz as I had last year, thinking that he could break out. But again, I started my DC season here just this week. I'm going to be getting into another one this weekend. And Ortiz is somebody who's in my plans at 400. Not my target, but around that pick spot. If I need a shortstop, I have no problem putting him in. What about this next guy who goes actually more expensively than both these guys, more expensively than Clement? It's Masyn Winn, who I think you could say a lot of the same things that you just said about Ortiz in terms of he's on a team that fits the profile type. Masyn Winn is a Cardinal, a really great defender up the middle who can do some things at the dish, but is not an electric hitter. But the defense, I think, solidifies him in that lineup. He is an electric defender. Mm-hmm. And after going, again, the Ortiz comps, I think, here are strongest. He went 15-11 in 2024 and then went down to 9-9 last year. Now, he has a better batting average, and I want to underline that when I'm making these Ortiz comparisons to both Clement and Winn. They crush him on average right now because he's been in the 230s and they've been in the 250s, 260s area. But anyway, Masyn Winn is also a lot more expensive at pick 264. Is he worth 135 more picks than Joey Ortiz?
No, not that many more picks. I think people are still remembering the prospect pedigree on Masyn Winn and going, oh, this is a guy that could have a massive breakout. And I think people need to remember some of that, or a decent amount of that, is because of the defense, right?
I was going to ask if isn't he one of these classic guys who gets, I don't want to say overrated, but gets highly rated on prospect lists. People use it as a fantasy list and forget that a gigantic chunk of Masyn Winn's value is that he is a premier defensive shortstop, which has no fantasy value except that it locks your playing time, which is great. But
now,
it doesn't.
I will say, if you look at our grades, our grades had him as a 50 grade power potential and 60 grade speed and 60 grade hit tool.
And he can still get there. He's 24 this year, Masyn Winn.
But and the underlying contact skills are really good. If we see growth in Masyn Winn, I think it comes in batting average. A guy that could potentially hit 280 if things kind of come together for him and stays healthy all year.
With a double, a boring 15-15 280 that is just clutch, at that pick point.
And so in your deeper leagues, I like Masyn Winn as, kind of a, MI or maybe even a, first guy on your bench kind of option. But yeah, this price seems a little weird that he's going that far ahead of other guys that we're going to talk about.
He's that far ahead of Ortiz. He's better than Ortiz, I grant that, but not 100.
I mean, I will say, in Ortiz's defense, Ortiz is going way too late.
It's probably more that Ortiz is going too late than Winn too early. I agree with
that. Because if we compare Masyn Winn to the other guy that we talked about in why am I blanking on Ernie Clement?
Yeah.
That's 20 pick difference. That's okay. I get
I'm
that.
Okay with that, exactly.
I think Clement's probably just going a little bit too high. But that's fine. But Ortiz going to pick 400 is kind of insanity.
Kind of an afterthought, right? And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll take him.
And I understand it too, but at the same time,
400 seems some of the guys he's going behind. Nasim Nunez, J.P. Crawford, Aiden Miller, amazing prospect by the way, Aiden Miller, but has not played in the majors. I'm not even sure if he should be going behind Anthony Volpe by 50 picks.
We're going to talk about Anthony Volpe.
Okay, we'll talk about him. But I moved Colson Montgomery up. This is not where you have him ranked. He's ranked a few spots lower. But I moved him up here not because he's similar to Masyn Winn. In fact, they couldn't be more different. But they're going in the similar area. And I wanted to ask you how you feel about that. Do you value one way over the other? Because, again, you had Winn ranked higher than Montgomery. But Montgomery actually goes 30 picks ahead of him. He had that scintillating debut last year with all the power. Remember, big strikeout guy in the minors to the point where it was starting to look like a big problem. He was striking out 30+% of the time at AAA, and it was really impacting him, folks. His 2025 AAA WRC plus was 82. He was 18% worse than league average. So people were like, Colson Montgomery sucks. This guy's not any good. Comes up 71 games, rips 21 homers with a 129 WRC plus. Still strikes out 29% of the time. So did he just run super hot with his power? 26% homer to fly ball. And he's being overdrafted, or was he bored at AAA? And yes, he's a swing and miss guy, but he's a power monster. Where do you come out on Colson Montgomery?
Yeah, I think he's a power monster and just going to be a swing and miss guy. But what I will say is, he actually has better in zone contact skills than I expected, and he had really good ones in the minor leagues, and maybe that is just a matter of like the pitchers he was going up against. Anytime you swing as much as Colson Montgomery does, you're going to have strikeout issues at times, right? Like, 71%.
Like he's swinging from his heels.
Yeah, 71% zone swing percentage. Like, he is up there to hack. But like I actually think this is an interesting profile. The average is probably not going to be very good, 235-ish. But I could see a world in which like 35 homers happen.
That was the number I was going to ask you. Yep.
Like, I'm not projecting that in any, like, and if you look at the Bat X, they project 539 plate appearances and 22 home runs. They project him to double his plate appearances and get one more home run.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if I buy that either. But like, I think 27 homers and like a 230 batting average is something that's in the cards here.
Is that all right at pick 237 for Colson Montgomery?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Especially if you need power.
Yeah.
Like, I like Colson Montgomery a lot this year because he's also going to play, right? Like,
yes,
there's no reason. He's a good defender, and like, there's no reason why like he's an adequate defender, not good. He doesn't have great art.
He's their future, though. I think they're going to commit to him and say it's Colson's job. We're starting to put our pieces together.
And the whole team is built like this of guys who are going to strike out. So like they're not going to penalize him, in a rebuilding year over everybody else on this roster.
Right. They brought a guy over from MPB who strikes out like 70% of the time in Murakami. Yeah. So, they can't be biased toward Montgomery. I agree with you there. He's very interesting. I'm going to move another guy up on your list a little bit, Carlos Correa, because he goes near him. And I feel like that's an interesting decision between those two. They kind of do things a little bit differently. Like, it's the raw power only with Montgomery. You get some power with Correa, but you get more batting average. Of course, you get the always looming injury risk, but he did play $144 last year. And for the first time ever, or maybe not ever, but Correa has dual eligibility. He's going to be third and short. How do you feel about Correa, who goes right around Montgomery and Winn there at pick 269?
I just think it's kind of a boring profile. Like, the 20 homer power days seem to be gone for Correa. I love this.
Sorry, let me just interject. Only 13 in 144 games last year, to your point.
He has a 29% fly ball percentage. Like, he's just not elevating the ball enough to.
That keeps the batting average ceiling very high, though.
Yeah, and I do think that I do think that batting average floor is really, really good. Like, I expect him to hit 280. The question is, like, what kind of power are you getting with that? It's a fine profile if it fits your team at that draft pick. So, like, if you
Which
don't
is the same with Montgomery, right? If you have power and bad batting average, you shouldn't take Montgomery. You should take Correa. And then if you have your batting average already set and you need power, you take Montgomery. Like
these are actually two guys you can double tap, right? Like,
right. They would
like
fit together.
I need batting average and some power. Well, I'm going to take Colson Montgomery, and the next round I'm going to take Carlos Correa.
If you need everything but speed, going a Correa Montgomery combo for your middle corner would make some real sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that. Let's go to Otto Lopez out with the Miami Marlins. And, he put up another, a nice solid, I shouldn't say another. He put up a nice solid season here himself. Actually, it was kind of another. He was fantasy relevant in 24 as well, 6 homers, 20 steals. This year he goes 15-15, but the average dipped from 270 to 246 for Otto Lopez. But again, definitely a fantasy asset. We talk regularly about how the batting average, floor is much higher, meaning you can be batting in the 240s and you're not exactly killing your ball club there. Second and shortstop eligible, legit on both, 32 games at second, 111 at short. What do we get for year 3 here? Because these were two pretty different seasons. No power, more batting average in 2024, and then a more even counting category season in 2025, but no batting average for Otto Lopez. So where do you come out on him now?
The BABIP was really low. I think he got unlucky in the batting average department. So he had a 246 average and a 264 BABIP.
That's way low.
Yeah, and he's like a 292 career BABIP guy. His XBA was 271. He makes a lot of in-zone contact. Doesn't swing outside of the zone too much. If I think the comp I said yesterday is that Xavier Edwards is like the diet version of Nico Horner. Then Otto Lopez is kind of a diet version of like Jeremy Pena. Like it's not Timu, it's diet.
Yep.
So it is a little bit worse, but you're getting him really, really late here.
Especially if you buy into that average going back up, which I do. You said 264 on the BABIP for a career 292. He's never been.
I think he's getting 270.
Yeah, I think he got way unlucky out of Lopez with the average. I think there's a lot of average upside here.
I think he's going to hit like 270. So I actually really like Otto Lopez for kind of who he is, and like now, he's a pretty decent defender here as well. He doesn't whiff too much. Like the power, I don't expect like a ton of power growth. Like I think he is probably a teens, mid-teens kind of homer guy, and like I could even see that being like closer to like 10 than actually like at 15. But you're gonna get stolen bases. The Marlins are gonna play him every day. I like him like in a 15-team league, as like an MI. Like that's totally fine with me.
I do too. I like Otto Lopez, and remember he and Edwards flipped positions when it was clear that Edwards just couldn't handle short. They said, well, what if we just switch you two guys? And that makes more sense. So that is going to be their keystone combo this year. And again, I'm really bought in on your notion that Otto Lopez has a lot of average upside on that 246. I don't buy that at all. I would trade 5 homers for 25 points of average all day with him, because I also think if he's getting on base that much more, then the steals do go back up into the 20s as well. So he's a very interesting player. Now, I do have to throw a wrinkle at you because Otto Lopez is more expensive than all these guys. He's picked 211. Does that change your calculus at all? Because the market's in on him.
Yeah, I didn't realize that his ADP was that high.
He's got some juice. That's above Bogaerts, literally all the guys that we've talked about today except for Tovar.
Yeah, no, I'm
and Holliday, obviously. Sorry. I'm
probably not taking him at that price then.
I don't like that price. I still like the player.
What'd you say the price was exactly?
211, with a high of 238, which puts him with Colson Montgomery. That's at his max though. Puts him.
Why take Otto Lopez when you can take Masyn Winn?
Yes.
50 picks later, I'll take Masyn Winn.
That's the problem here with Lopez. Is I was really surprised to learn how high his price was. I think I would even just take Clement 70 picks later.
Yeah, I could
not at a 1-to-1 price, but 70 picks later, absolutely.
I think there's a little bit less juice, but 70 picks later is. I mean, we're gonna talk about a guy that here that I probably take way later, in like a Chase Meidroth or a Brooks Lee. Like I think that price is probably too high.
Yeah, I think that's my only issue right now with Otto Lopez. We'll see if it comes down a little bit or if he's trending toward his max. And if he's in the 230s, I can get there. But at 210 and higher and inside the top 200, I can't do that. Andrés Giménez is up next. He is second base eligible only right now, but he's going to get shortstop early into the season because he's their shortstop. So whatever your in-season game eligibility, it should only take him that many games. I don't even think, if it's 5 games, it should be after the first 5 games. So you have to draft him as a second baseman, but you'll eventually be able to put him in there. What do you think of Andrés Giménez as a full-time shortstop next year with Toronto?
I mean, I don't love Giménez. And it's not really anything of his own making. It's mostly I don't trust the stolen bases in Toronto. And without the stolen bases,
they fell apart last year.
Yeah, and part of it was he only played 101 games, 369 plate appearances.
But
so
let me extrapolate that for you and see how close it is. It still only would have been 20, which is 10 off of the 30 that he put up 2 years in a row. So even if you extrapolate Giménez, his pace was still lower, and that's a Toronto thing, right?
Yeah, it is a Toronto thing. Toronto was one of the worst teams in terms of team stolen bases in 2025. They were the 3rd worst, just ahead of Detroit and San Francisco, 77 stolen bases last year. So like that to me, and Giménez isn't going to be batting high up in this lineup. That lineup's too damn good. I know there were a couple times where he batted second and stuff.
Nah, that ain't happening next year outside of an occasional game.
No, I think that was and I think a few of those were pinch hit. He just came in.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So
because he's a 7, 8, 9 guy for this lineup, without a doubt for Giménez.
He was mostly 8-9 from September 1st on in season. He hit 8th or 9th, except for when he came in as a pinch hitter to hit second. So
bottom of the order, coming off of a rough season. Now I will say it is put into his price. He is picked 315, so people aren't overrating him totally on the price point. But it is pretty boring, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think he'll go back to being a 251 hitter, but I think this is 10 to 12 homers and 20 or 15 to 20 stolen bases type of thing. I just think you can find this profile.
Yes.
I'm just not overly enthused by it.
I think the young guys that you mentioned who are both coming up next, I think I'd rather go for. So let's get into Chase Meidroth and Brooks Lee together here. They are AL Central middle infielders. We'll start with Meidroth, so we're going back to the White Sox here. I thought, he showed some things last year in his 505 plate appearances. The composite line is not going to jump off at you as special. 514 with a 253 average. It's an 84 OPS plus. But as somebody who was obviously a fan of an AL Central team and by proxy ends up watching a lot of White Sox games when they play my Tigers, I was impressed with him. I think this guy, he takes his walks. It wasn't a sky-high walk rate last year as he's kind of figuring it out. But 14% K, 9% walk, I like that combo. I think as a volume guy, he can get his way to 10, 15 with a 260. And that's boring, but fine at pick 338 for Chase Meidroth, who is also second and short eligible with full eligibility, meaning 20-plus games. How do you feel about Mr. Meidroth, who you hinted at earlier as somebody you like?
I mean, I think that he would be a favorite player of Billy Beane because he gets on base. All he does is get on base.
Yep.
He makes a lot of contact, does not swing outside of the zone at all. It is 22% O swing, 91.6% zone contact, a 4% swinging strike rate.
Oh my God.
He is the opposite of the rest of this team. He does not strike out. He walks. He plays good defense.
Hey, Chase. Colson comes up. Chase. You had that at bat earlier where you just walked over to first. What was that?
Yeah.
They let you just go to first and you didn't even get a hit. Yeah, Colson. So if you take 4 balls, you get what's called
if you don't swing,
wait. You lost me at don't swing.
Yeah. You can actually just walk over to first base.
So I think Meidroth has sky high walk potential. 9% last year is a taste. This dude was double digits all the way through.
He was 20% in AAA.
That's what I'm saying.
And now AAA was only 40 plate appearances last year, but
2024 it was 19.
Yeah, 19%. Yeah, in AAA in Boston. It was at Pawtucket. I think there is
I
a
think it's
really
Worcester now. I think the Paul Sox are dead, and it's
that's right.
Worcester.
Now there is not much power. Like we're 1.6% barrel rate.
Right. When you can control the zone that much, you don't swing and miss.
You don't
you're
elevate.
Sacrificing power.
Yeah, it's a 27% fly ball rate, 53% ground ball rate. Like I think there is batting average upside, but not unless he changes his swing path a little bit. Like, yes, he makes a lot of contact. He's going to put the ball in play quite a bit, but a lot of them are going to be soft grounders or easily, fielded grounders because he just doesn't hit the ball hard enough. That being said, he could. There is a scenario, and we saw it in that AAA sample in 2024 where he gets good BABIP luck. He hits the ball a little bit harder, maybe elevates a little bit and hits 290. And then you're talking about a guy with a 14% walk rate that hits 290. And you're like, okay, that, a 380 on base percentage type of situation. That, I think that is kind of a potential scenario. So for you guys in deep on base percentage leagues, I think Meidroth's the guy you should be sniping late and kind of seeing what happens. But I understand, in a regular roto league, you're not super interested in because there isn't a ton in the profile. But
he's a DC filler. I think Chase Meidroth is a DC draft champions, 50 rounds, boring guy. While he doesn't have a track record, he's not an old guy. He cuts the figure of one of those older guys who's
also eligible at second and short in all formats. I like those guys as an MI or a bench option because I know he can fill in second, short, or MI. So
sorry, I was looking something up. You mentioned OBP leagues for him, right? For my draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where his value is really going to spike. 329 doesn't jump off the page. Again, folks, I think he's a 12, 13, 14, 15% walk rate guy as a true talent. I think 9% is just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
So we like Meidroth for the late round, AL only, deep leagues. This next guy is similar to that. Brooks Lee is triple eligible. He doesn't go much more expensively than Meidroth at pick 321 versus 338 for Meidroth. Like I said, triple eligible, second, third, and short, playing for the Twins. I like Brooks Lee. He's an interesting prospect, switch hitter. I think they're going to commit to him this year. Again, nothing jumps off the page from the composite numbers that say, wow, this guy's awesome. But as somebody who saw a bunch of him, I thought, hey, there's something to work with here. It was not a great first season, but it wasn't terrible either. He still hit 16 homers, and I think if they do commit to Brooks Lee, I think there's a little something here again as a deep league roster filler.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Brooks Lee, and he's going to be 25 in the middle of February, and I'm just intrigued by him. I don't think there's a massive carrying tool. I do think this is in accumulators profile, but he does
contribute everywhere type of guy.
Yeah, he does make a good amount of in zone contact. He walks. He doesn't swing outside of the zone much. 11% swing and strike rate, 88% zone contact. I think there's just an interesting accumulator guy here, and if the Twins were being more competitive, I'd say, I think this is a guy who could lose his spot, but with the way the Twins are currently constructed and all their financial issues right now, I think Brooks Lee is going to be at the bottom of the lineup, but I think he plays every single day. I
think so too. I think they give him a real shot and say, let's see what this guy can do. Because, like you said, they're not going to be going out spending. They've kept it pretty chill this offseason. I don't think Austin Martin and Eric Wagaman are a threat to take the shortstop job from him.
No, not at all. And he's just going a bit too late. It's just second, third, and short eligibility for a guy that is going to play every single day, no matter what. And and I understand they're different players and stuff, but I don't understand why Luke Keeschel gets all the love and Brooks Lee gets absolutely none of it.
We'll talk about Keeschel at second base.
Yeah.
But I think you have an interesting case there to discuss.
The profiles aren't that different. Is it prospect pedigree? Is it I don't know.
Keishel's like 150 picks. So like I'm not.
Yeah,
I like Keishel. I'm not
that's
going to
the
be able
thing.
to defend. It's actually 170 picks.
Keishel's. I mean, spoiler alert for when we're talking about second base. Keishel is going way too high. Like I just.
When you compare it to Brooks Lee, I can't find.
I mean, it is obviously it's second base, and people thinking like, hey, this they're extrapolating a small sample and stuff too. Like, but like yeah, that's Brooks Lee's
I didn't realize he was going that high.
Keishel's going too high. Brooks Lee's going too low. Not saying that Lee should be going in the same spot as Keishel, but
they offer different things, so it's not an easy 1-to-1 here. But they both have the triple eligibility, and they're not too far apart. Ernie Clement at 287 or Brooks Lee at 322, 321 with the same triple eligibility.
Keishel doesn't have triple eligibility. Keishel just
Brooks
has
Lee. Brooks Lee.
Oh, I thought you were talking
about Clement versus Lee. Keishel
Clement.
back off to second base.
Sorry.
Clement v. Lee here. Again, I know it's like if you need the average, you'd go Clement. If you but let's just say you don't have a direct need. Would you pass Clement to take Brooks Lee 2 rounds later? Okay, that's my main question.
Because again, I think Brooks Lee's playing time is secure, right? Like there's, I think that
Clements is right now too. You're saying that he could get replaced, and I agree. But like right now, that's not a threat unless they make a trade.
Yeah, but like there's no trade that the Twins are going to make.
I do agree with that. Yes. I'm not
like even if the Twins are competing. Like let's say the Twins like are magically really really good. The pitching comes back together. The offense does just enough. We have some breakouts and guys like Royce Lewis who we love and stuff like that. Like at the trade deadline, they're not adding money onto this team. Like so,
they're not gonna go get Seager, for example.
Like they're like. I mean, unless it's a guy who like is like a like a Nico Horner type, it wouldn't be Nico Horner because the Cubs are going to be competitive,
right?
But like a guy who's in the last year of his deal, where the team trading will say, "Hey, we'll eat the remainder of his contract in order for you to just to get a prospect." Like, but even then, like the Twins aren't a team to trade prospects like that. Like,
also a good point.
Like so, like I think Brooks Lee is the guy, whereas like I could see a scenario where Clement. Like they have other options in Toronto too. Like so, like I don't see where the Twins don't play Brooks Lee. I think the only issue is like if he gets hurt. Like I think that's it.
Or is carrying like a 40 WRC plus and it's just like untenable. But yes, I agree. As long as he's not completely falling on his face, why wouldn't they commit to a 25-year-old prospect of some note, a former first-round pick of theirs? So I agree with you there.
I mean, the hard thing, too, is Minnesota only has one guy who's an infielder on their 40-man roster that's not going to project to be in the majors. Like, that, all their 40-man offensive guys are in the outfield.
There's a weird org going on over there. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Let's go to Nasim Nunez, who goes around pick 400, plays for Washington, definitely a defense first guy or defense only guy maybe. But if he's getting playing time, he does have some speed. Is there anything here with Nasim Nunez? He is going in the top 400, which for DCs means, people are picking him. There's something there. Do you see anything with Nasim Nunez?
Oh, I think you're underrating Nasim Nunez.
All right, I'm happy to hear. Let's dive in.
Like this is like. I understand like there isn't much hit tool, there isn't any power. Like if he hits 4 home runs again next year, I might be a little surprised.
He did need a 25% homer to fly ball ratio to get that done.
Yeah, like he
10% average, folks.
Between AAA and the majors. Now that it's only like 320 plate appearances, but between the two, he had 6 home runs. Like there is very, very little power in this profile, but you know what there is a ton of? Speed.
I'm gonna guess you're saying speed. Yep.
Speed. There is a ton of speed in this profile. 98% percentile in sprint speed. And like you look at some of these minor league numbers, 70 stolen bases in the minors in 2022, 52 in 2023. Even last year, like between AAA and the majors, he had 45 stolen bases.
And 9 for 10 in the majors last year, 17 for 20 in his career. Nasim Nunez is very efficient on the bases, which will help you get the green light.
He's actually got really good plate and contact skills too, right? 88% zone contact at the majors.
You're selling me here, man.
A 22% O swing, a 9% swinging strike rate. Like Now, like I said, there is no power. So
that's okay. I can draft around that at pick 400.
Yeah, so this is a guy who is not going to get the ball to the infield all the time. And he does not elevate at all. A 28% fly ball rate last year. I mean, in 2024, in the majors, he had a negative launch angle, and he wasn't that far off of it in 2025. So,
slamming that shit into the ground.
But he isn't devoid of power. It was a 42% hard hit percentage.
Okay.
So I don't think that's going to translate into homers, but that could translate into singles where he can get on base and steal, right?
Exactly.
And so I think Nasim Nunez is a really interesting guy, especially with the Nationals kind of being fed up with the defense, certain members of that team's defense. Luis Garcia's moving to first base. CJ Abrams, Nunez is going to play second, I think, every day. Unless they bring someone else in before the start of spring training, but I don't know who. I don't know who it would be.
Right. I can't think of anybody off the dome that would be automatically better than Nunez. They're not going to go trade for Brendan Donovan or anything like that.
I think this is a really fun player.
I think you're selling me. I think you're selling me on some Nasim Nunez here. I think he also, and doesn't mean you would draft him, but just something that I remember. I think he won the Futures League MVP either last year.
Oh, did he?
Or no, it would have been 2 years ago, because obviously he was in the majors last year. But yeah, that's how I remember him. That was when he was with the Marlins, if I recall correctly, and they just let him go. He got Rule 5 off the Marlins, which was kind of funny just because the Marlins were so bad. You'd be like, well, why didn't you keep an electric talent like that? But I guess they do kind of have Nasim Nunez's of their own. Yeah. And we talked about how Washington, they ran less last year, but they still ran more than most teams. They were still 10th. So they weren't the burners that they were in 24, but they will let players run. And I think somebody like Nasim Nunez, if he's getting on base at even a 310, 315 clip, which isn't even a great OBP, that could be 30 steals. I think you've sold me. I'm interested. Now,
I mean, I got a board bet for you because they're going right next to each other.
You took the words out of my mouth. If you're
okay, go ahead and say it. Yeah,
Ortiz, right? Ortiz versus Nunez.
I'm taking
I
Nunez.
have to take Ortiz, even though you just sold me on Nunez. They are literally going right by each other. So yeah, you read my mind there. I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. Let's put that on the board.
All right, doing it right now.
So even though I will say I'm co-signing the Nunez, but I'm going to stick with my boy Ortiz, and we'll see how they battle off. All right, let's finish off this tier with the man that you hinted at earlier that you wanted to talk about, Anthony Volpe. How annoying is this guy? I feel bad for the people that had him last year too, because he's one of those guys that was really hard to cut.
Me.
I feel bad for Justin Mason last year because he's one of those guys that's really hard to cut because you're like, no, it's going to turn around, and he's the starter for the Yankees, and I drafted him, with a decent cost. You ate a 212 average and fell a homer and 2 steals shy of a 2020 season. What the hell happened here after what looked like, at least I don't want to call 2024 a breakthrough, but it looked like he had felt better about where he was. Remember, he made a concerted effort to raise his average. He only raised it from 209 to 243, but it looked like he was doing some things that he could build upon for 2025. And instead, it was more of the same boringness in the composite. And then 212 with the batting average for Anthony Volpe was killer. Where do we go from here? You're muted. Oh,
sorry. Time. I was actually coughing. So,
okay.
So we were in Arizona playing Family Feud, which we're gonna play again here tomorrow on PitchCon. So come check out. I think it's the last panel of the night.
Yep, it's a Saturday night.
So come hang out and watch us play Family Feud. We're gonna be going head to head as opposed to
on the same team. They had to break us up. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, they
too powerful together.
Yeah, way too powerful. We're the champions, obviously.
Gotta break us up. I get it.
I just hope they put us on different sides of the bracket.
Yes, so we can meet in the finals.
Exactly. But there was a question of top 12 shortstop, something about top 12 shortstops, and one of the guesses I made was in the first half, and one of the guesses I made was Volpe, and everybody laughed at me, including you. And he was the 13th or 14th shortstop. I know. He was there.
You had your comeuppance of this was way closer than you idiots think, because he was actually much more much worse in the second
49 half. RBIs in the first half.
Right.
And you have to wonder how much of this is the shoulder injury that he had.
Yes.
Now I don't want to like write it all off, and we have to acknowledge the fact that he is not going to be ready for the start of the season because of the shoulder injury. So, like, we don't know what kind of playing shape he's going to be in, at what point he's going to return.
And this is 3 years now of the same shit. This is 1,900 plate appearances of an 80-some OPS plus in all 3 years for Volpe. The makeup's been a little bit different, where the power went out in 2024 and it came back last year, and the steals have fluctuated 24, 28, 18, but the bottom line is still the same shit. And now you're throwing in a shoulder injury that's going to push him back to start the year. Should we even be paying pick 350 for Volpe?
In an NFBC context, no.
Okay.
Just because we don't know when he's going to play,
Right,
and
and no
we don't know
IL
what
spots.
he's going to be when he does play.
Yes.
In a league like Tout Wars, right, where it's a 15-team league and you have an unlimited IL, I'm taking a shot here.
Okay. And just holding and seeing where it goes. Because, yeah, it doesn't hurt you to hold him, and he's such a late pick. You didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're on top of your meat today. I'm sorry.
I was sneezing. So.
Okay. A cough and a sneeze, and I'm calling.
All of a sudden, I start talking about Anthony Volpe, and I start getting allergies or something like that. So, in a league like that, or a league like, I have a dynasty league where I think it's like a 16-team dynasty league where, I think we've got a bunch of IL spots, not unlimited, but a bunch. Like, this is a time for me. I'm trading for Anthony Volpe. I still believe in the talent. I do, and he's still in the Yankees. The Yankees have not made a move to replace him.
Right.
Right.
So they're staying committed to him, is what you're saying, which I agree with.
Yeah. Like I still kind of believe in the talent. And he's still very, very young. Like he's 24 years old. He's gonna be 25 at the end of April. I'm just not ready to give up on the dude.
Me neither, to be honest, because I was actually quite big on him last year, and I remember being so mad at the snipes. I'm like, oh, I got sniped on Volpe. I wanted him so badly, and obviously I was saved for myself. But I have the same inkling that you do to not quit him, and I think the discount is good enough. Pick 3. I'm actually pretty impressed with the market properly dumping Volpe down here to pick 350, because that is a price point that, yes, he can still hurt you if he flames out completely, but it will not kill your season in any way, shape, or form. And last year he was going at a pick that it could have killed your season, or at least severely hampered it, because you paid a decent price for him to hit 230 or 212 for you last year.
I think it did hurt your season if you didn't drop him.
Right.
Quickly
that was
enough,
the tough part,
right?
though, too, because a lot of people held because of the name value and the fact like, oh, it's going to turn around, and it never did.
Yeah, like that. That was the hard part. But, like, I mean, you still got the countings. I mean, it still went 1918, right? Like,
you didn't get nothing, but, like,
yeah.
Could you, were the counting numbers worth the batting average drain, right?
No,
that depends on your team makeup.
Like, yeah. I mean,
generally he's going to be a no, but if you had the right team makeup, maybe you could survive it. If you were just super flush on batting average, then maybe the 1918 from Volpe was good.
If you got Jacob Wilson later, you were like, okay, I made this work. But like, you were also like, when Jacob Wilson went out, you were also like, ouch, I'm in some trouble here.
Your batting average was hemorrhaging at that point.
Yeah.
All right, so that's tier 6. Let's look at tier 7 here. And we're just going to kind of go over some favorites. We got Jose Caballero, Willi Castro, Jared Triolo, Brayan Rocchio, Jake Cronenworth, J.P. Crawford, Connor Griffin, and Nick Gonzalez. Do you have some favorites here? A favorite stand out at all?
I mean, I think my favorite is the guy at the top of the list, and that's Jose Caballero. And it's mostly because we have seen him steal just a crap ton of bases in limited playing time, and he is their opening day shortstop until Anthony Volpe is back, right? And so, like, I kind of love these kind of guys where at the front end of the season he's getting the playing time. He's gonna lose the playing time at some point, but at that point, if you don't need him, you can trade him or drop him, right? You can trade him to a team that needs stolen bases,
or he's bench steals,
or he's bench steals. Like, there is a world in which Jose Caballero steals like 60 bases this year. Now I believe ran less once he got to the Yankees.
But versus the Rays, I mean, that makes sense, right? Because the Rays generally run a lot more.
Well, and he just played less, right? So
which is the biggest issue.
But the playing time issue isn't going to be an issue. I mean, he still stole 15
start
bases and 95 plate appearances, but he only had 95 plate appearances from August 1st on. So I do think he's one of those guys that you'll probably end up dropping once Volpe is back and established as the guy, unless there's another injury and Caballero fills in somewhere else, which can always happen on the Yankees. So
and can we also point out that Caballero is quad eligible?
Yeah,
second, third,
and that's what I love too.
All legit, all 20+ games.
So, what's his ADP right now?
It is 226. So he's not cheap.
He's not cheap.
Ahead of Colson Montgomery. But like you said, it's the guaranteed PT. It's the quad eligibility, guaranteed PT at the front end of the season. Quad eligibility and speed is 226. Is that an okay price for you?
I mean, yeah, because this is. Don't do this. Don't do this in your projection. I'm just showing you what could happen, right? Okay. But 95 plate appearances, he stole 15 bases. You make that 600 plate appearances, and what is that? 90 stolen bases?
Oh my God!
It is. I mean, it's 90 stolen bases. Like that.
Even if you shave that down.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get 600 plate appearances, but. Like, there's a world where he if let's say, Volpe has a setback, and which is
or
always
sucks again.
Yeah, or someone Ryan McMahon goes down, right? All of a sudden, if Jose Caballero gets to 500 plate appearances, there's a world where he steals 60, 70 bases, and I'm okay taking that gamble, especially when he's quad eligible, because he'll have value as a bench bat, even if he, becomes a bench bat. He's gonna play everywhere.
Lineup, and they can spot it. Let's say Volpe comes back and his shoulder's great, and he cooks. He
played 6 positions last year.
Yeah, Caballero will just give everyone a rest once, bouncing around the diamond every day. So I still think you can have value with him, even if he does immediately lose that starting job upon the return of Volpe. But I think there's enough here to take that shot, even at pick 226, which is not super cheap.
It's just going to be very important for you to watch the Volpe news in spring training if you're thinking about taking Caballero, right? You should be setting alerts for Anthony Volpe's shoulder on your spring training notifications list. I just you want to know when he's coming back.
Don't put all your eggs in the Caballero bag, like you're saying about steals and average.
Pulls a hamstring or he doesn't play, and all of a sudden you're in some trouble. But there's immense upside in stolen bases here.
Yeah, he's got game-changing ability with his speed there. So I like him as a good pick there. I will pick. It's a tough group, and you picked one of my favorites.
It is a gross group.
If I have this right, let me see. Where did? Oh, Willi Castro was named in shortstop. How'd you know?
How did I know he goes to Colorado?
No, how'd you know who I was looking for?
Yeah,
I didn't even say his name.
I know, but he's going to Colorado.
You just knew. Yes. Yeah. Okay. But Willi Castro is who I was going to bring up. He doesn't actually have true shortstop, but he is second, third, and outfield legitimately, which means 20+ games. We'll talk more about him at second base. I'm just going to co-sign your Caballero pick, and let's move to tier 8. Oh, actually, I want to say something about Konnor Griffin.
Okay, I was just about to say I want to talk about Konnor Griffin real quick.
Why is he going so?
Because the Pirates have said they're going to give him a legitimate shot to win the opening at shortstop.
Does that mean he should be a top 200 pick?
No.
Okay.
And as much as I know the Pirates have said that they are going to give him a legitimate shot, they have no reason to give him a legitimate shot, right? He's only gotten 98 plate appearances at AA. He's never reached AAA. He is just 19 years old. He'll be 20 about a month into the season. And if there is an opportunity where we're going to lose a large amount of games in 2027, right. The last time we lost a large amount of games in a season, they gave everybody who pretty much, played more than 15 games or whatever, a full year of service time.
Right.
Are they really going to risk starting his clock this year and then, they burn another year of eligibility? I know the Pirates are trying to be more competitive, and they should be.
Right.
But they're still the Pirates. I still have... the fact that even I relented to the people in my comment section to move him into this tier because he was originally in tier 9.
Yeah.
And we're in tier 7 for those who aren't keeping track. But Like, I don't know that he's actually up at any point this season, much less on opening day, like the Pirates are saying. I think this is speak from the Pirates, because we just saw this with Bubba Chandler, right? Bubba Chandler was the best pitcher in the minor leagues, and they kept him down all year to gain that extra year of service time.
And then it seemed like he got pissed and started pitching like shit. Like, I don't know if it was directly related to that, but all of a sudden he's walking everybody, and we're like, that's not who he is. What's going on with Bubba Chandler?
So, like, why would, like, Konnor Griffin's the number one prospect in baseball. Like, there's no reason for them to start his clock. But I had to mention that they said they're going to give him an opportunity to win the job, and if he is amazing, like, they put themselves into a corner, like, because if he's amazing, 200. If he breaks camp with a team, he's top 50. This is Julio Rodriguez, not. I'm not saying in terms of talent and on the field and, like, production, but, like, remember when, like, Julio Rodriguez went from not being drafted in November, a top, 250 pick, this time, and then the moment they said he was going to make, he's going to break camp with a team, he was a top 50 pick. If that happens, Konnor Griffin is going in the top 50. I don't think you should draft him there, but that's where he will go.
Right,
I know I'm right. Like, this, remember Bobby Witt, like, went like third round. You drafted.
I did that.
Yeah. Like, and it, worked out for you. Like, Bobby was great.
It did. Like, he was good. Like, was it the maybe it was the same. Maybe I'm being an old man right now. Let me see.
Yeah, like, this is what will happen.
Okay, can I at least say that when Bobby Witt came up, he had 63 games at AAA. I feel like we were betting a little bit more on a little bit more stability. But the prospect game has changed, and I do need to stop being curmudgeonly, because I did not realize that Konnor Griffin stole 65 bases last year. So, if they let him come up and at least just do that, even if all the skills don't translate immediately. I'll also point out 21 homers, 333 average, 165.
He was amazing.
The full line was unbelievable.
And I think
top
he
200
is
pick is so crazy.
Like I was saying with Jackson Holliday, like, I don't know where the ceiling actually ultimately reaches. Like, I think he's more of like a, third, fourth round player, at his peak for Jackson Holliday. Konnor Griffin's peak is like top 5 pick in fantasy. Like, so like, I understand. Everything. Yeah, I traded away Konnor Griffin in my 30-team 100-man dynasty league.
Please tell me it helped you win whatever season you were checking.
No. I did it to clear some really bad contracts and stuff.
So you made them take some money to get
him. And I regret it every minute I look at that league.
Because he looks so.
And he wasn't the number one top. He wasn't the number one top prospect when I did it. Like, it was right after the draft and stuff. But, like, I'm regretting the hell out of that one right now.
That is the tough part about dynasty leagues. You make moves for the future, that won't hurt you till the future, and then that future comes, and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anyone else here in Tier 7 that has your interest enough that you're drafting in certain spots and that you want to plant a flag on?
I mean, no, not really.
Me neither. Let's move to Tier 8, which is more robust, but again, a lot of guys that are just going to kind of be churning through rosters in deeper leagues. Brooks Baldwin, Mauricio Dubón, Josh Smith, Gabriel Arias, Max Muncy from the Athletics, Zach McKinstry, Ha-Seong Kim from the Dodgers, Ryan Ritter, fake player, Isiah Kiner-Falefa, Taylor Walls, who inexplicably gets a job, Ezequiel Duran, Javier Baéz, Oswaldo Perez, Ronny Mauricio, David Hamilton, and Thomas Saggese. A lot of names there. Again, we're not going to cover all of them, but do you have one or two that you are looking at lately?
I mean, I'll just make some quick mentions. I don't think anybody's worth a deep dive. Mauricio Dubón is going to be playing until we
talked about that earlier. Yep.
Kim, so like if you need an accumulator who's eligible at a lot of different positions and is going to play at the beginning of the season, Dubón makes sense. So fine. Max Muncy, the Athletics, the younger Max Muncy, the younger,
I like that.
Is not very good at baseball. So stop confusing him.
Well, relative to major leaguers, we should say.
Yes, Hyeseong Kim, I think if he actually got playing time, he'd be really interesting. But he's just not going
Where's
to
that PT come from?
in LA.
Well, now wait. Can I push back on that a little bit? I know we're not deep diving, but he is penciled in as the strong side platoon at second base for the Dodgers.
Yeah, there is some opportunity for him to get some plate appearances, and
He's also second base only right now from a 20-game standpoint, I should point out.
There is speed and batting average in this profile. He doesn't walk very much. He strikes out a little bit too much. There isn't a lot of power, but he can make a lot of contact, and he can steal bases. So, like, he is interesting from that perspective. But I don't know if it's going to actually turn into much because he's probably going to be limited to like 425 plate appearances and bottom of the
pick 500
order.
though, right?
Pick 5, yeah.
Like,
exactly.
the juice might be worth the squeeze there to get a little Dodger piece. Who else you got? I got one that I want to.
I mean, Javier Baéz is going super late. He's going to play.
God, I hope not. I hope it's first lefties only.
I mean, unless they bring up McGonigal, like if they want to,
and
we'll talk about him. Yeah, we'll talk about him in a second.
Prospects here in a second, but he is triple eligible.
Sagisi, am I pronouncing? I don't think I'm pronouncing.
Sagisi,
thank you. If they do move Donovan, he's going to be playing every day.
Absolutely, because he's currently on the bench, and that he would take Donovan's spot there.
And like, if I'm in a draft champions league, I'm highlighting that. It's pick 521.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would move up 100 spots if Donovan got moved before opening day.
Totally agree with that.
And so,
Sagisi.
Like,
Saggese.
I don't think he necessarily has like the most interesting of profiles. Like, I think he is probably an accumulator, but with pretty decent speed.
You want volume at that point, right?
Yeah.
You said pick 5 something for him.
Yeah, and I'm saying draft champions. Like I said, I think he'd be going about 100 picks higher if Donovan was moved. So like, I think you can get some pretty good return on your investment because I do think Donovan does get moved at some point. So
yeah, I like the Thomas and JC call out. Josh Smith's a little bit more expensive than a lot of this group at pick 350. Not cost prohibitive, but a little bit more expensive. But first, third, shortstop eligible. And I think just doesn't get his due. He's had 2 good seasons in a row, sneaky doubles with a 250 average, and he's played 550 plus plate appearances in each of those 2 years.
That's just
it's boring.
Yeah,
but
it's
pick 350. Like I'll take it. And at triple eligibility, I think Josh Smith is a really good DC pick.
Yeah. DC is fine. I think he's going a little bit too high for me. Like, but I'm not like gonna.
Would you take him or Jeff McNeil? Different positions. McNeil's second outfield. Okay.
McNeil.
Him or McKinstry. McKinstry's also triple eligible, third short outfield.
Smith.
Okay. And they all go around the same spot. Here's one. This is only single eligible, but a guy a lot of people like. Connor Norby or Josh Smith?
Josh Smith. I do not like Connor Norby.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah, we share a Connor Norby dislike. We'll talk about that at third base. Anybody else here on the tier A before we get into the prospects? No. There's no PT for David Hamilton, but he's speed anytime he can play. So if he does end up having to come up to replace somebody for Boston on an injury or something, it would be cheap speed, but that's it. Christian Campbell's ahead of him in the pecking order too.
Ryan Ritter was interesting.
That's a fake player. Who is that?
He's Colorado. He was Colorado. He was going to be their second baseman until they signed Castro.
Yeah.
So like, and they got Edward Julian.
Oh yeah, that trade just happened. That is.
Oh, I totally missed that. That's super interesting.
We will talk about that at second base with Joe because that is pretty interesting, and it does undercut Ritter quite a bit. He's a short side platoon guy now, but we will talk Julian, one of our faves going out to Colorado.
That's like the perfect landing spot for Julian.
Dude, I gotta say, I'm a sucker. Totally, first and foremost, but the bottom 3 of their order right now for Colorado: Willi Castro, Jake McCarthy, and Edward Julian, and Brent Doyle. Well, he's already our boy, but I'm saying there are 3 newcomers. I like all 3 of those.
Shit on the Rockies all you want. I actually I don't mind this at all. This is
I don't either.
This is a fun lineup.
I like they're going for like
their
some
pitching staff is going to be atrocious, but
always though. Always.
Yeah, no, I kind of this is a lineup this is very much like White Sox West.
Yes.
Where like they're not going to be good, but they'll be fun to watch.
Yes, they're gonna have some excitement to be worth, and they got a bunch of guys on the right side of 30, right? These are boring like partial vets or guys that have had an opportunity, but at least they're all on the right side of 30.
It's very much like the White Sox like 2 years ago when we said, I know it's ugly, but they're heading in the right direction finally.
Right.
And I do think that if you look at the way this team is starting to come together, yes, it's going to be ugly, but I think the Rockies might finally be heading in the right direction.
They might actually be slowly turning this Titanic around, and we'll see how it goes. So, yeah, Ryan Ritter, again, did lose some playing time there with Castro and Julian coming in, but he is a short side platoon option who could get some burn. And anytime you're in Colorado,
if there's an injury, in Colorado, like he's an interesting guy to take a look at.
All right, let's finish up with our prospect tier here. Now, you don't have Konnor Griffin in because you did get asked to move him up.
I moved him up.
He was part of this, but so he stands alone. It's Kevin McGonigal, Carson Williams, J.J. Weatherholt, Colt Emerson, and Sebastian Walcott. Best 2026 production from who in this group, according to you? From October 1st, we're going to look back. Who was the best year?
I think McGonigal.
Okay, love to hear that.
I just think that out of these guys, he is the most ready and has the clearest path to everyday playing time because the Tigers can put him in the lineup if they want to. I don't know if he breaks camp with a team, but I think there is an opportunity for him, and all he's done is hit.
Dude, he's a rake. He just rakes. It's
between awesome. 3 levels last year, from low A all the way to double A. He had 305, 408, 583 with 19 home runs and 10 stolen bases. Like he is, and that was with an 11% strikeout rate and a 15% walk rate. Like he's ready. He went to the Arizona Fall League. Was I think he ended up having to leave the Arizona Fall League.
Yeah,
hurt or something.
I think it was a shortened stay out there,
but it wasn't like a serious injury. I think there's just a lot to like in McGonigal's profile here. Like just an elite hit tool, and then does enough of everything else. He's not going to be a 30-30 guy, but like I could see a 2020 season with a really good batting average. Like 280. 2020 if he breaks camp with a team, and you're getting him fairly late for that kind of profile.
And there's no reason that the Tigers should not give him every opportunity to break camp. He has picked 300.
As long as he's ready defensively. I think, if he's ready defensively, I think you go and give him, everyday playing time at shortstop.
I think that would be incredible. Put McKinstry back into the super utility role, which is where he can thrive. I'm obviously very excited about McGonigal as a Tigers fan. I think he's somebody that you really want to watch all spring. Here's the thing. If you really love him, you probably should do a winter draft to get him at pick 300 because you know damn well if things go well, he's going to be pick 150 in no time and higher.
I think he could be like a 125 ADP if they say like in the middle of March, like he's going to make this.
If he's hitting 325 in the Grapefruit League, and the Ttigers are very much saying that he's going to break camp, Vegas NFBC,
he might be like
pick
670. Yeah, he might. Yeah, exactly. So
totally agree there. All right, so then Carson Williams, Weatherholt, Emerson, and Walcott. Walcott's listed last, but it's probably just because he's a baby, and we don't know if Texas is going to push him. But
I don't.
High talent.
Yeah, this is another guy who's been on like my minor league rosters for a while, and
he's unbelievable.
Unlike Konnor Griffin, I refuse to trade him.
Good.
So I don't think he's up this year. I don't think the Rangers start his clock. And so I think he's a 2027 or 2028 guy. But I do like him. I think Weatherholt would be the next guy.
For the Cardinals, okay. Yeah.
Because, again, they've said they're going to give him every opportunity to make the opening roster. And the Cardinals have given these guys opportunities. Now they're in kind of a rebuilding situation right now, so they may not want to start his clock either. But he was good in 221 plate appearances at AAA. And overall, between AAA and AA last year, he had just about 500 plate appearances, 306, 421, 510 with 17 home runs and 23 stolen bases. And
a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Weatherholt.
Like 15% walk rate, 50% strikeout rate here. So like, I think Weatherholt could make this opening day roster, and they just let him go. Now he'd have to play second base, and so because he's not moving Masyn Winn off of shortstop, so if they do move Donovan, I expect Weatherall to be on this team.
Yes.
And he should be,
totally
going higher. So I think he's another guy. And then I hate the race. I really,
I was going to ask about him next. So yeah, Carson Williams.
Yeah.
We routinely clown on Taylor Walls with good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Dude cannot hit his way out of a wet paper bag. He is a remarkable defender. Credit where it's due. But why does he continue to get playing time?
But here's the thing. Carson Williams is a really good defender too.
Exactly. So give me the guy who can actually maybe become a good hitter.
And right now, because of the moves that the Rays have made, we have him projected starting the year in the minor leagues because
Carson Williams, not Taylor Walls.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Carson Williams. Because they picked up Ryan Vladi off of waivers. There's no reason Carson Williams. I mean, I know he's got a lot to work on. For those who don't know, he struck out a 41.5% clip at the major leagues last year in 106 plate appearances. In AAA, it was 34%. Dude swings and misses all the time. But he's shown double-digit walk rates all throughout the minor leagues. He has legit power and speed. We're talking about a guy who can hit bombs and steal bases. And he is a glove-first guy. I like this profile, and I do think that he is going to be up at some point, probably early, because I don't know that he's got much to learn in AAA. But
he's not going to fix the strikeouts down there. I think it needs to come against better competition for Carson Williams, and he is dirt cheap, pick 450. You can just take a shot. Can I ask you a question on another guy who goes right here, who had a lot of juice last year and now is down at pick 450 as well? Him or Carson Williams or Christian Campbell? I know Campbell has no room either.
Well, Campbell's good.
Well, actually, no. Carson Williams, I shouldn't say has no room. He's blocked off. But Campbell actually has no room is the problem.
Yeah, and now they're talking about moving Campbell out to the outfield where they're already one player too many.
They ain't got any room out there either. I mean, what a great position for them to be in, of course, for the Red Sox.
I mean, I will say that, I think I'll bet on Campbell. They paid Campbell.
I think I'd go Campbell because he's done something. That's not the best reason. I will acknowledge that. But their love affair for Taylor frickin' Walls has me worried that Carson might have to marinate for a while.
And I mean, there has been a lot of talk of that, Boston's going to trade an outfielder. It hasn't happened yet.
Right. And we're getting closer to pitchers and catchers. Not that it can't happen, but the closer we get, the less likely it seems it would be.
I think once the final big free agent sign, a team is going to, maybe a team like the Mariners. Mm-hmm. They come to some sort of agreement here. But I don't know. I don't know where the playing time comes from, and he's got to switch positions. So I think he's going to go back to the minor leagues for a while. Campbell will. Mm-hmm. So
I definitely agree with that.
And for people wondering, he's not shortstop eligible. You just
no. Sorry, I was just comparing two interesting prospects there. I was not implying that Christian Campbell has any shortstop eligibility.
I mean, I think Campbell long term just has the better floor. Because
I think so too. For fantasy, yes.
Yeah, he's just got a better hit tool, and I think he's going to be pretty good. Whereas Carson Williams, he doesn't have a hit tool. I think that both will be regular MLB players, but I think that Campbell has the opportunity to actually be really, really good, whereas Carson Williams is always going to be plagued by that hit tool, and hit tools are one of the hardest things to grow.
Right.
Once you're a major leaguer, and he's pretty much a major leaguer at this point. I don't think it's going to get that much better.
You very rarely completely revolutionize a bad strikeout rate. Now, he does take walks for Carson Williams. That is huge. Now, we didn't see it in the major league sample, but in the minors, he took walks coming up. Yeah. So if a 30-something% strikeout rate is balanced by a double-digit walk rate, we can live with that, but it's unlikely that Carson Williams
the power, the power and the speed combo for Carson Williams is really intriguing if he can maintain that walk rate to offset the strikeout rate. But
because there's no chance he's going to come in and start striking out 23% of the time. That's just so rare. So, all right. Well, that's shortstop right there. We went deep. You did a great job with your list there. Again, folks, you can follow along. He'll be updating that all throughout the rest of the winter.
One more quick mention before we.
Absolutely.
The Mariners have also said they're going to give Colt Emerson a shot to win.
Okay.
And if you look at their infield right now, it's ugly.
I confuse him and Cole Young. So there's a chance both could be up.
Yeah.
and again, they don't both play shortstop, so this is not a shortstop comparison, but just 1-to-1 of the two COL
But I think
Seattle
they're
prospects. Who do you
I mean,
prefer?
unless they're going to play Emerson at third, because I mean they've got
Oh,
JP
do you think
Crawford.
it'll be either or between those two?
No,
Between
I mean
Emerson and Young?
they said that they're going to give, like, even if they brought in a second baseman, Young is gonna have a spot in the roster. So they've already said that Young
So
is gonna
he's
be on the
there,
roster.
and then Emerson could.
I
win
think
a spot.
Emerson could win a spot, but I think it would be to play third base. Because right now they've got someone named Ben Williamson, who sure is a fake player.
We've talked about him. That's a made-up player, and that's okay. You know, we got to make up some players, but that's not a player, and that's okay. We will figure that out. So Cole Young goes around pick 524, and Colt Emerson goes around pick 4. Colt Emerson's actually more expensive, despite Cole Young having.
Now, I wrote about Young last night. If you go check out my ADP movement at second base that went up this morning, he's moving up. Okay. He jumped 50 picks in the last month. So, but he's still at pick like 500. It's a good opportunity. Young's upside isn't great.
Okay, so he might have the guaranteed spot, but his upside isn't great. Emerson doesn't have the guaranteed spot, but more upside.
Yeah, Emerson, is like above average league power, above league average speed, and a good hit tool. The question is, can he handle third base? If that's what they're willing to do. But the Mariners have said they're going to give him an opportunity to win an opening day roster spot. So, and this is a team that's competing. So I could see them doing it.
Awesome. That'd be great. Yeah, so I'm glad you brought in Colt Emerson there. Keep tabs on him. And again, don't confuse him with Cole Young like I do. They are both Seattle prospects, but Emerson looks like the better fantasy bet, and he could push off Ben Williamson. There we go. Again, excellent job on your shortstop rankings. Those will continue to be updated as news happens, if we get some moves that could change some things. But it's an interesting position. And after the deep dive, do you feel any differently about how you're going to attack it, or is your plan still mostly to wait after that first group of super studs?
Yeah, I think just the depth of it. If I don't get one of the top 6 guys, I'm probably waiting quite a while. Like, there's a couple of guys I sprinkle in, like Seager, who I go like, hey, if he's there, and I've got a lot of plate appearances locked up right here, I might take the gamble. But like, I'll wait for a Dansby Swanson or Xavier Edwards, or even some of the Colson Montgomery, like I'll wait a while if I don't get one of my earlier guys, because there are so many. When you said I had to rank 5 game eligibility, I was like, do you understand what you're doing to me at shortstop? Because it becomes insane.
I'm passing the buck on this one.
Yeah, I will be fighting that next year.
We will be advocating to change the 5-game limit there.
I will be out with signs in front of Fangraph's home headquarters, like
100-game eligibility. If they didn't play 100 games there last year, I'm not writing about them.
Just let me do 10. Let me do 10.
10, I think is where we need to be. I think 10 makes sense. All right, we will be back with second base early next week. Joe will be back with us. He wrote up the second baseman, so we're going to grill him about those guys, including some of the ones that we skipped here that I really want to dive in on, including Mr. Matt McLean. So we'll be back early next week. I think Monday, but I'm not hard committing on that because we have to talk with Joe, but we're thinking very early next week. So until then, again, we're looking at 3 episodes next week, so 1 on Monday or Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday. So we're getting back to 3 per week during the weekdays. And then are you and Jay getting together this weekend, or with PitchCon are you skipping?
I will double check with him, but I believe we are getting together, unless his panel is on Sunday.
That was the only thing I wasn't sure of when you guys might have had scheduling there.
I have multiple panels tomorrow, but I don't have anything on Sunday, so I will text him after I get off of here.
And truthfully, you guys can be done before it even starts. It doesn't start until 11. So if you guys go early in the morning. And he has his Saturday morning. So he should be available for you.
Yeah, so we should be good Sunday.
Check out PitchCon, folks. Go to pitcherlist.com for details, or just go to twitch.tv/pitcherlist and watch it all weekend. And we'll be back next week. Take care, Justin.
Take it easy.